This one, which happens in the month of Magha, is considered Mahashivratri. Anyone, knowledgeable or ignorant, a saint or a sinner, a seer or a rogue, if he manages to sit erect, keeping his spine erect, awake and alert on this day, he can take the steps towards his fulfillment because the planet is in a certain alignment. This is an opportunity. This night should not become just a night of wakefulness, but a night of true awakening.
For breakfast, soak 8 to 10 peppercorns together with 2 to 3 vilva or neem leaves in honey and a handful of groundnuts in water overnight. After the Shiva Namaskar and chanting, chew the leaves, consume the peppercorns after mixing them with lemon juice and eat the groundnuts as well. If neem or vilva leaves are not available, please take neem powder balls. Neem powder is available at Isha Life. Have only 2 meals a day. The first meal should be after 12 noon. Before consuming this, ensure you finish your regular sadhana such as Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya. Have only 2 meals a day. The first meal should be after 12 noon. If you feel hungry before that, you can drink the peppercorn, honey lemon juice and water mixture again.
The inertia levels will increase if the body does not allow a certain amount of energy to enter the cellular level. For it to enter the cellular level, neem and turmeric as a combination is a tremendous… it's like a dilator, that it allows the energy to enter and fill up every crevice in the body. Neem and turmeric is a good support because it dilates the cellular structure in such a way that it is able to absorb. As you do your asanas, the body will simply crackle with a different kind of energy. So, consumption of neem and turmeric with a mildly laced honey water acts as a wonderful way of cleansing the system, dilating the system, that when you do sadhana, one thing, it brings flexibility to the muscles. Another thing is because the dilation brings flexibility to the muscle, and that flexibility, as a consequence, becomes a way that you slowly build the system into a more powerful possibility. Taking care of the food and a few things is important as sadhana. Being disciplined with your food, what you take into the system, is as important as doing the sadhana. The idea is, if you take this neem and turmeric combination early in the morning and drink something warm, it cleanses the stomach in a big way. If there are any minor infections in your stomach, it'll go away. And it also kills the cancerous cells in the body. If you want to bring a new level of flexibility, one thing is, lot of toxicity has to go from the system. If you just go on water diet or honey and water diet, which will keep you energetic enough, if you do this for 7-8 days, the amount of toxicity that you expel from the body is tremendous. Suddenly you find your body is so much more flexible. Just experiment, don't believe all this. So, consumption of mildly laced honey water, it should be very mild, acts as a wonderful way of cleansing the system. So consuming honey will bring a certain balance to the circulatory system, which is very, very essential for a yoga practitioner, because you're pushing the body in certain ways. So keeping the blood chemistry in a certain balance, keeping the blood pure, definitely happen with a regular consumption of honey, and it's very necessary for someone who practices yoga.
Honey is one of the best things that you can consume.
Psychological stability, physical well-being, vitality, all these things can be greatly enhanced simply consuming daily honey.
Honey is the only substance found on the planet whose chemical composition is very close to that of human blood. You change a few things, it's almost like blood. Daily consumption of honey can do a lot for your health. It's very good for your heart, it's good for your brains, it keeps your mind alert, and it's highly energetic.
You should put it in warm water.
Because we want the system to open up. If you want to integrate the system just for health, somebody is feeling anemic, the blood has lost its iron, that means you lost your steel. You lost the strength in the body, you'll feel exhausted, simply exhausted for nothing. So, to take care of this, one of the simple things is you consume a little bit of honey in warm water on a daily basis, and you will see slowly the RBC content will go up. If there's more oxygen in the blood, suddenly you feel a burst of energy, suddenly everything is active, the rejuvenation system in the body is going up, the dead cells are being replaced quickly, the level of inertia that you feel in the body is much lower, the level of inertia that you feel in your mind is much lower.
Of all the things, a groundnut. I'm particularly passionate about the groundnut because there was a period of my life when I just lived on groundnut and banana, that's all. Because it has
has everything you need. Just soaked groundnut, one handful, this much of groundnut soaked overnight, my entire day would go. I'm perfectly active, more active than most people will ever imagine. It has everything to sustain you.
It's a complete food by itself. If you soak it for over 6 to 8 hours, it takes away certain aspects which are called as pitta. Allopathic doctors don't look at it, but the Ayurveda is based on this, Ushna, Shita and Pitta. It takes away the pitta. Taking this soaked groundnut, chewing it well and eating. Just make sure it's not some genetically engineered nonsense, whatever.
The peppercorn, when it's raw, which you might not have seen in most parts of the world, here it's common for us, it's available. So, soak it in honey and every day, about 3 spoons, 3 times a day. All these things work best when you're on an empty stomach, that's the first thing that you take. If you do these things, you can see a significant increase in your immune system. I would say in 4 to 8 weeks, one can see significant betterment of one's immune system. Ingestion, digestion, assimilation, excretion. These are 4 dimensions of food and the whole process. Ingestion is happening in today's world just about any time, wherever they are, sitting, standing, any time of the day or night, people just eat because there's so much food. It was not like this ever in the history of humanity. But unfortunately, fortunately there is a lot of food. Unfortunately, people don't know when to eat, when not to eat. So the body is a cycle. These cycles are very connected with the planetary cycle, lunar cycle, solar cycles and the earth cycles are very important for the body. If one has the necessary awareness, they could observe on which day your body doesn't need food. Every other creature knows this. Unfortunately, human beings have forgotten. If you observe your system, you will see on a particular day, you don't feel like eating. That day you should not eat. Digestion happens in the whole alimentary canal, not just in the stomach. And assimilation also happens across the entire alimentary canal. Now, excretion doesn't happen only through the alimentary canal, excretion needs to happen on the cellular level also. Impurities gather over a period of time and you become dense both in body and head. If you don't cleanse yourself, then it'll pile up over a period of time. We call this karma because when it piles up, it determines the way you think, feel, understand and experience life. People may not realize this, but they will think, this is how I am, this is my nature. This is not your nature, this is the way you messed yourself. So this cleansing process, one important thing is to give a break for ingestion. Because other systems are largely involuntary, you can stimulate them, but they're involuntary, they're functioning. Ingestion is a voluntary process, though unfortunately for most people it's become compulsive. It should be a voluntary process, that is, I eat when I want to eat. When I decide I want to eat, I will eat. My hand doesn't decide when to eat. So ingestion should be a conscious process. To bring this consciousness, there are many methods. One is fasting. Simply denying yourself food and water could cause damage to the system. You must support it with the necessary practices. If you have the necessary practices, the need for food will come down. See, our energies are not coming only from the food that we eat. The sunlight, the air, the water, actually if you… in the yogic sciences we say, if you really keep your system well, 60 to 70% of your energy should come from these 3 factors: sunlight, air, water. Another 40% should come from the food that you eat. So naturally, volume of food that you eat will compress. I must…